An interesting story. Rabbi Shlomo of Karlin, he was one of the pupils of the Maggid of Mezrich. This is in the beginning of the Chassidic movement. There was a tremendous opposition to the to this movement because it taught things like being happy and loving everybody, and that everybody's equal and that everybody has to do tshuva. Strange ideas that, according to the ruling class at that time of Judaism. So there was a rabbi, great rabbi called Shlomo McCarlin, and he used to come. He used to go around to different cities, towns, and the young people of the towns would come and listen to him teach. But it was very dangerous for him to do so. So he used to come like in the middle of the night. He used to come in the middle of the night, and he would teach the pupils. And usually, when he would come, the pupils would prepare a mikveh for him. Now, in those days, before the Hasidim made it popular, mikveh was only for women. Only for women. Men didn't go to the mikveh, except on very unusual occasions. But the Hasidim did go to the mikveh. So they used to prepare a mikveh, but they had to do it quietly. And also the Hasidim, they used a warm mikveh. And the others, when they didn't use a mikveh, even for the women, they used a cold mikveh. There's reasons, according to Jewish law, that a cold mikveh is better. But anyway, the Hasidim didn't see it that way. So in order to warm up the mikveh, that was also a dangerous thing. Nevertheless, before Rabbi Shlomo McCarlin would come, and the young people that liked him, they would warm up the mikveh. How would they warm up the mikveh? They had to do it in secret. So they would go to the house, the little room, whatever it is, the house where the mikveh was, and they would light a fire. In the middle of the night, they would light a fire, boil up water, and pour the water into the mikveh. And that would warm it up sufficiently that when Rabbi Shlomo McCarlin would come, like at 2 o'clock in the morning, that he would immerse himself in the mikveh, and then he would teach these boys until the morning, and then he would leave, and nobody would feel it. Well, yeah, one time it happened that the boys heated up the mikveh, and they had to do it in the dark also. If they lit any lights there, it would draw attention. So one time it happened, a terrible tragedy, that the boys went into the mikveh and they quietly lit a fire in a corner, and this one boy went down secretly, quietly, because he couldn't make any noise. He went down into the mikveh to see if there was water, and the other boys didn't know that he went down into the mikveh. They didn't hear him, and by mistake, they poured the boiling hot water on top of him, and he was burned third degree burns on the majority of his body. They took him from the mikveh, wrapped him up in a sheet or whatever, and took him to the doctor's house. The doctor could take care of him, and the doctor didn't know what to do. It was already unconscious. It was getting close to being dead. Meanwhile, Rabbi Shlomo of Karlin came to the town, and he saw that the mikveh wasn't ready, and he saw that the boys weren't waiting for them. He asked one boy what happened, and he told him the terrible tragedy that there was. Immediately, Rabbi Shlomo Karlin went to the house where this boy was, and he saw the boy laying on the table, seconds away from death. And he told everybody to stand aside, and he closed his eyes and prayed and passed his hand over the boy's body. And where he passed his hand over the boy's body, as it healed, to the degree that after about 10 minutes, he had passed his hand over the boy's body, and they asked him to turn him over. The boy was, his skin was rosy and clean like it ever was before, and he opened up his eyes and he said he wanted to drink water, and everybody was amazed by the amazing miracle. Well, but it also so happened that in the time, that's the beginning of the story, middle of the story, it happened at the same time that the first Rebbe of Chabad also would go around to cities, and he would also try to spread the ideas of Chassidic. And it also happened that he came to this particular city where Rabbi Shlomo Karlin came. And the boys interested in hearing him, they came to listen to him. And all the boys were how do you say, enamored. They were captivated by the Rebbe's speech, the first Rebbe. Now, the first Rebbe of Chabad, he was the youngest of the pupils of the Maggid HaMezrich. He was the youngest of the pupils. But in some ways, many ways, he was the favorite of the Magid Mezrich. Nevertheless, Rabbi Shlomo Karlian was a tremendously holy person, as you see from the story. He passed his hand over the boy and he healed him. Anyway, so the first Rebbe of Chabad, he came to the town, he gave class, and everybody became his follower. A half a year later, Rabbi Shlomo Karlian, he came to the town and he gave a class, and the same thing as before, but he felt that the young boys weren't with him. So he asked them what happened. He felt that they weren't attached to him as before. So the boys said that they were the Rabbi Shner Zalman of Chabad. He came and that they all became his followers. So Rabbi Shlomo Karlin turned to the boy whose life he had saved. And he said, I understand why the others could become followers of the Rebbe of Chabad. He's a tremendously great person. He's a holy person. The Magid of Mezrich loved him. But you, I don't see how you could. I saved your life. I saved your life. How could you leave me? You see what I could do for you. You see. And you left me. How could you leave me? I don't understand. Explain. So the young man said, you're right. Said, to show what God can do for me and what a holy person that you are, and how God is working through you, that God can do for me miracles, there's no one like you. But to show what I can do for God, that's the Rebbe of Chabad. That's why I became a follower of his. And that's basically what Chassidut comes to teach, but especially Chabad, what we can do for the Creator to make this world a better place. Have a good day with Mashiach now.